Welcome back, Rewinders, to the Sunday morning Start Sit Show, Week 11 edition. We've got some great action on the docket coming up this afternoon right now. Miami, Washington in Spain going on, and Mariota does not look great. But needless to say, we've got plenty of other good players playing this afternoon. And we're going to help you through your start-sit decisions. We've got 8 divisional games today. We already had the Patriots-Jets on Thursday night, so lots of interdivision action this week. We also have the Bucs-Bills at noon, and we have the Lions at Philadelphia tonight. So some great games today. And we're going to help you with those tough decisions, not whether to start Jonathan Taylor or not, because, well, he's on a bye this week, so we're not starting JT. Colts are on a bye, Saints are on a bye, so sit all those guys, make sure they're out of your lineups. We've got some big injuries to report. Brian Thomas Jr. is out with that ankle injury announced this morning. Marvin Harrison out with the appendix surgery he had this week. He'll miss most likely just this week. Keon Coleman also this morning announced just about an hour ago, coach's decision, he'll sit as well in that Bucs-Bills matchup. Dalton Kincaid already announced out earlier this week. Then we move over to the Giants-Packers game where Jackson Dart is going to miss this week with a concussion, but that means we get Jameis Winston. Yes. Who doesn't want to see some Jameis Winston, right? Packers wide receivers all banged up. Somehow Christian Watson is the most healthy of the Packers wide receivers. And I'll tell you in a little bit why he's a great play today. As for the Bucs, Bucky Irving's still out. Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, of course, as well. And to the Texans, we've got CJ Stroud still out with his concussion. That means another week of Davis Mills. Maybe he can start lighting it up earlier this week against the Titans. Drake London for the Falcons looks like he will play. He missed a practice earlier this week with an illness. Calvin Ridley is still questionable with a hammy. We're going to, this is why I start the start-sit show 90 minutes before game time, so that I can give you the updates as quick as they come out for you. Samaje Perine out for the Bengals in their matchup with the Steelers. That should be high scoring. That just means more reception opportunity for Chase Brown. Brock Purdy, we welcome his return as they take on the Cardinals down in Arizona. Good news for the 49ers offensive players. Ricky Pearsall also back in action for that one. Rashad Bateman and Justice Hill will be out for the Ravens. Isaiah Pacheco out for the Chiefs. So that means more volume for Kareem Hunt there. J.K. Dobbins out in that game as well. So that's an uptick for R.J. Harvey. We're all excited about that one. Tonight in the Eagles-Lions matchup, Sam Laporta is out with a back injury. He was put on IR. Not good news there, but that's good news for Brock Wright. Go out there and scoop him up if you need a tight end flyer. All right. So this Washington-Miami struggle fest, 13-6 Commanders right now. Just over 2 minutes left in the third. Let's get into some of the noon games, though. Throw your questions, your start-sit questions, just over there in the chat. I'll get to them as soon as possible. Maybe I'll answer them while I'm going through the game previews for you. But yeah, please, anything you want, go ahead, throw it over there. I'll get to it as quickly as I possibly can. All right, we'll start you off with Carolina at Atlanta. Atlanta's favored by 3.5, 42-point over under. This is kind of a gross one. Drake London should play, though, for you. You want Rico Dowdle in there. Tet McMillan can play. Kind of avoid everybody else, though. Tyler Algier could be a desperation flex for you. Darnell Mooney hasn't really stepped up this year. Michael Penix has looked good one week, then terrible the next week. So he's been up and down all season. Not something you want to necessarily bet on against the Carolina pass defense, which is pretty strong. Their rush defense, however, though, a little questionable. So that's where I'm saying Algier is a decent desperation flex if you need to. He loves stealing those goal line touches from Bijan. We hate it. The Bijan owners, that is, but it is what it is. It's helped keep Bijan healthy all season. I'll say that. Next up, we'll get these gross ones out of the way. We've got Houston at Tennessee, another gross interdivisional matchup. Houston's favored by 6 with a 37-point over-under. Nico is in. Woody Marks is in. Woody had an over, 75% snap share last week, so he's been getting more and more opportunity. Now, a lot of those snaps were in the fourth quarter when the Texans were trying to come back. So we'll see if Nick Chubb gets back into the mix more or if it's the Woody show in Houston, in Tennessee for the Texans. Again, I just like Nico and Woody in this matchup. Avoid Spears or Pollard if you have to. Ridley's banged up, so he's not a great play either way. There we go. There we go. Ridley's not a great play either way. Chimere Dike and Io Manor have been getting more opportunity, but Cam Ward, until we see it, I really don't want to play any of those options, especially against this Texans D that is truly a legit defense. And so, yeah, I'd avoid any Titans if possible. Now let's get into some better matchups here. We've got the Packers at the Giants. Packers favored by 7 with a 42 over under. Jameis Winston getting the start. Yes, and when Winston is in the game, in the lineup, you better go ahead and fire him up. I don't care if he's throwing it to me or you out there. We've got Wan'Dale Robinson still healthy for the Giants. Darius Slayton is out. And so that means more looks and opportunity for Jalen Hyatt and Gunnar Olszewski. Scoop up old Gunnar if you need a real desperation flex in this one. He got a lot of snaps last week, so don't be surprised if Jameis slings it his way a few times today. As for the Packers, well, their offense has looked pretty shaky the last few weeks, the play calling, etc. Calling for Matt LaFleur's head on a platter as far as the play calling goes. So we'll see who decides to call the plays. I'm sure it'll be LaFleur again today. But this is a great bounce back opportunity for Jordan Love here. Again, a lot of the Packers wide receivers banged up. Dobbs is banged up. Let's see. Wicks is still banged up. Savion Williams is banged up. It's Jaden Reed still not back. And then, of course, Tucker Kraft out for the season. So today, though, lines up well for Christian Watson. The Giants have given up the 5th most deep ball yards on the season. Since week 8, I think they've been the top rated defense at playing one high safety. So that bodes well for Christian Watson and his deep ball game. So fire up Christian Watson wherever you need to. I don't have an issue with that at all. Josh Jacobs, a great start here against the Giants defense, which is just bad. We'll just leave it at that. They're just bad all around. But yeah, Christian Watson, good play here today. Next up, we've got another interdivisional matchup. The Bears visiting Minnesota. Minnesota 2.5-point favorites, 48.5 over under here. Bears are 7th in points per game, 3rd in yardage per game, and 2nd in rushing yards per game. The Vikings defense has been all over the place this year. So I would fire up all Bears wherever I can, wherever needed. Rome is in. Play DJ Moore for a bounce back game if you need a flex. Luther Burden is a decent desperation flex today. Definitely start DeAndre Swift, even Kyle Monangai in a flex role if you have to. As for the Vikings, well, J.J. McCarthy didn't look great last week, but his wide receivers didn't help him a whole lot. I mean, Jefferson dropped a clear touchdown, so that could get worked out today. I don't know what Bears defense will show up. I would just about play everyone in this one. This one could be a huge shootout in the NFC North, so I'd want some action anywhere I could get it in this one. Aaron Jones is healthy, so fire him up. Jordan Addison definitely play. TJ Hawkinson, a great matchup. The Bears actually are not very good against the tight ends, so this is a real sneaky good matchup for TJ Hawkinson. All right, moving along to Buffalo, where we've got some inclement weather today. Weather is about 35 to 40 degrees with possible snow, rain mix. Great football weather, right? Not awesome for fantasy. I already mentioned Keon Coleman's going to sit today for whatever reason, coach's decision. Dalton Kincaid is out. That means that Dawson Knox, you could slide him into your tight end position if you're desperate. Cade Otton, a solid start at tight end. He's been getting tons of dump offs from Baker Mayfield as Baker struggles to regain his early season form. He was early first month of the year MVP candidate, but definitely has not played that way recently. Especially with the injury to Evans, it seems to really have affected him. Now, Ibuka's still getting plenty of action, so fire him up. Tez Johnson, you can start in a flex. He's gotten tons of targets since the Evans injury and Godwin. Godwin played a couple games there, but then during that second game, he re-injured his nasty ankle injury from last year. And so we're just sitting here as Bucs fans waiting to see if Godwin even comes back during the season. They might just shelf him to the playoffs. That's kind of my guess right now. Bucky Irving out, though, which is unfortunate against this run funnel Bills defense. They're second worst in the league. So definitely fire up Rachaad White. You could play Sean Tucker in a flex if you want. Tucker actually got more carries than Rachaad White last week, and it's very interesting to see who gets more carries this week. We may see Sean Tucker slide ahead of Rachaad White today. Who knows? James Cook, great start. Bucs run defense was porous last week against the Patriots with Travion Henderson running wild. So yeah, fire up James Cook in that number one Bills rushing offense. Of course, you're playing Josh Allen. Baker, you're pretty much forced to start Baker with whatever teams you've got. It'd be a pretty rare situation where you're stacked enough at quarterback, but if you do have somebody decent, I guess you could play him over Baker today, again, with the rough field conditions. So we'll see. Should be an exciting one, though. Next up, we've got the Bengals visiting the Steelers for the second time in 3 weeks. The Icy Hot Bowl number 2. Of course, Aaron Rodgers and Joe Flacco going toe-to-toe. Now, it was announced earlier this week that Joe Burrow came back to practice, but he isn't expected back into the lineup until Thanksgiving week 13. So Flacco getting the start once again. All I can say here is just play everyone. Pittsburgh's favored by 5.5 somehow. I don't know. That seems a little high to me. 48.5 over under. But both teams don't run the ball particularly well. But Jaylen Warren and Chase Brown both will get plenty of action in the passing game. As I mentioned earlier, Samaje Perine is out. So you saw an uptick in targets to Chase Brown. So he's a good play for the Bengals. All right. Yeah, rushing yards per game. Cincinnati 32nd, Pittsburgh 30th. So even Arthur Smith can't get the Steelers' run game over 30. But this is the best passing game environment of the day. So, yeah, fire up all your receiving options for the Bengals and the Steelers. Get Rodgers and DK in there. I don't even like the tight end situation for the Steelers. They're three-headed monster, but if you've got to play one, go ahead and play them. Jonnu, Freiermuth, Darnell Washington. I mean, it's gross, but yeah, if you've got to, go ahead and play them. T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, of course, absolutely today. Next up for the last noon game we'll go over here, and that's the Chargers visiting Jacksonville. Chargers are favored by 3 with a 43.5 over under. This could be a real sneaky high scoring game here. Brian Thomas is out. So is Travis Hunter, of course, for the remainder of the season. But that's good news for Parker Washington, who's gotten a bunch of targets over the last month. So fire him up, I'd say for sure, in your flex spots. Brenton Strange is still out, so that will give Parker more and more dump-off opportunities. You've got Jacoby Myers now into the fold in Jacksonville, so you can fire him up this week. He played a decent amount of snaps already last week in his first game with the Jags. Dyami Brown is back, so he'd be a desperation flex for you for Jacksonville if needed. Now, Quentin Johnston is questionable with a shin, but I think he should be likely to play. This is a great matchup for Quentin Johnston here against Jacksonville. They're 29th against the pass, 5th against the rush, though. So look for the Chargers to be slinging it all over the place. Justin Herbert, a great start today. Ladd McConkey fire up. Keenan Allen in the flex. And, of course, Rondé Gadsden. Get him in there. But, yeah, QJ X-wide receivers do well against the Jags. So, yeah, it's a great opportunity for QJ to bounce back here this week. As for Kamani Vidal, I'm an okay flex on him. We'll put it that way. All right. Now to the 3 o'clock Central, 4 o'clock Eastern games, the late slate. We've got 4 games there. Really good matchups. First one is Ravens at Cleveland. Again, here there is a possibility for inclement weather. Just like in Buffalo, Cleveland, you're going to see 30 to 40 degrees, snow, rain mix. So ugly weather there. I'd fire up Derrick Henry, even though the Browns are pretty tough against the run, and Henry didn't do great earlier in the year with this weather situation possibly. I don't know. You got to play Henry. It is against the Browns. The Ravens are favored. It should be a good game script for him if they get the lead into the second half. We'll see. Justice Hill is out. And Rashad Bateman, both out for the Ravens. So, yeah, fire up Lamar Jackson, of course. But Zay Flowers is decent, even with the weather. And Mark Andrews, you probably have to play him if you own him at tight end. As for the Browns, I pretty much avoid everybody but Quinshon Judkins. I know that Judy bounced back with a good performance last week, but I'm not buying it. Especially not here. The Ravens D has bounced back with all their guys finally getting healthy on defense. Now their defense is looking good. I kind of avoid Jerry Judy here. if you can. All right. Next up, we've got Seattle visiting the Rams, one of the best matchups on the day. Rams favored by 3, 48.5 point over under. Good environment, very good defenses, though. So I don't know how high scoring this one will get, even though both offenses are clicking on all cylinders right now. I mean, Sam Darnold has been, he lit up Washington. Then last week had a great matchup. Barely got you 10 points maybe in your leagues. He only had to throw it like 11 times last week, but you're still playing him. Firing up JSN, of course. Rashid Shaheed, decent flex option. Cooper Kupp, if you have to. But over to the Rams, you're playing Puka, of course. Devontae Adams does have an oblique injury, but I would be playing him. He should play today. And then the running backs. Yes, to Kyren Williams, but I would sit the Seattle running backs if you can, put it that way. All right. They've just been vulturing each other all season long. It's gross. It's tough. It's hard to figure out there. So, yeah, that's where I'd be at with the running back situation in that one. All right. Moving along, the other NFC West matchup, we've got the 49ers traveling to Arizona to take on the Cardinals. Niners favored by 3.5 with a 48.5 over under here. So a high scoring projection as well in this one. Brock Purdy returning in this one. He also gets Ricky Pearsall in this one, who'll be back for the first time in a while. Marvin Harrison out in this one, so you should see an uptick for Michael Wilson. And, of course, Trey McBride will get peppered with targets from Jacoby Brissett. But Michael Wilson, not a bad flex option here. I would avoid all the mess, the grossness that is the Arizona backfield if you can. Just stay away. If you have to pick one, I guess I would go Amari DiMercato. But, Bam Knight not doing a whole lot in the recent weeks, so I would play DiMercato if I had a choice between the two. Of course, you're playing McCaffrey for the Niners, Juwan Jennings, fire him up, Ricky Pearsall, fire him up, and George Kittle as well. All right. Then we have the battle in the AFC West as the Chiefs head to Denver to take on the Broncos. Chiefs favored by 4 here with a 45 over under. Isaiah Pacheco is out, but that doesn't mean automatically play Kareem Hunt. If you have to, go ahead and play him. It's not a terrible game script, probably, because I don't know how much the Chiefs are going to try and sling it against this Denver pass defense. Denver, I think, is first or second in sacks in the league. So, yeah, very tough Denver D here. This one could be tight all the way, or we'll get one of those Denver comebacks where they let the Chiefs throw all over them the first 3 quarters, and then Denver makes a comeback. On the Denver side of things, J.K. Dobbins out for the rest of the season with a foot issue. That means it is R.J. Harvey time. Yes, fire up R.J. Harvey. He should get plenty of extra volume. We don't know. I mean, yes, Jaleel McLaughlin and Tyler Beatty will get mixed in, but I'm betting that R.J. Harvey will get at least 15-plus touches. I don't want to just go wild and say 20, 25 touches yet, but we should see an uptick here for Harvey. We'll see how well Bo Nix can move the ball against this Chiefs defense. He's struggled mightily this year, so that could play into Harvey's effectiveness, but hopefully we get some dump offs. I mean, we're all envisioning when we took RJ Harvey that he was going to be Alvin Kamara, right, in the Sean Payton offense. Let's see it, Payton. Let's get those dump offs going. All right. Then tonight, we've got the big one. The Lions heading to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. Eagles favored by 2.5, 47-point over under. Game of the day, number 3, right? We've got all these games. They're awesome on today's docket. Sam Laporta, of course, as I mentioned earlier, is out with a back issue. He went to IR. Not necessarily out for the year, but went to IR. Brock Wright, that means, will get the call. So if you need, that was Mariota on the run. Brock Wright is in, so if you have a need for a desperation tight end, Brock Wright wouldn't be bad. Dan Campbell doing the play calling last week for the Lions. Jameson Williams got plenty of extra action, so you could expect to see something similar again tonight against the Eagles and their corners. Amon-Ra, you're playing. Jamo, you're playing. Both Lions running backs get in there. Of course, Jahmyr Gibbs you're starting, but I like Monty in this one to get plenty of action as well against the Eagles. I like this one to hopefully be high scoring. Now, the Eagles offense, A.J. Brown all week telling everybody to just bench him. Yeah, you got me? Bench me. I don't know what to think of it. Is it a smoke and mirror type thing where he's saying this because they know they're going to game plan to target him a ton tonight? Who knows? That's why we got to watch, though, right? Devonta Smith, definitely fire up. He's been getting more targets over the last month than A.J. Brown, so who knows what we'll see tonight. Saquon, you're playing, though, and Jalen Hurts, of course, you've got in your lineup. Jared Goff, solid start as well. Then over to the Monday night game, kind of gross. We've got Dallas heading to Vegas, take on the Raiders. Cowboys favored by 3.5 with a 50. That's right, 50 over under. That's the highest over under on the week. Start all your Cowboys. Bench all your Raiders except Genty and Bowers. Simple as that. All right. Now we've got some questions here. Mike Hergott, welcome to the Dynasty Rewind. Mike, PPR, Marks or White? Ooh, good question here. I'm going Woody Marks here. Great game script for the Texans against the Titans. I would lean Woody Marks here. The Bills' run defense is not great. Don't get me wrong here. But I guess put it this way, I'm a little more scared of Sean Tucker than I am of Nick Chubb. All right. And I think that Woody Marks is actually kind of just a better player than Rachaad White at this point as well. So, yeah, the Texans, if they have their way, they'll be just running it all over the Titans today. And so, yeah, I'd lean Woody Marks there. Definitely. All right. Any other questions here? Go ahead, throw them up in the chat. You can throw them in the comments section if you're watching after the show is complete. Go ahead and throw them down there. I'll help you out however I can. What else do we got here? So that Detroit-Philly game tonight, be interesting to see if Dan Campbell changes his play calling from what he did last week. It worked so well against Washington. I think that he'll probably keep it somewhat similar. So, yeah, I'm excited for the Lions offense tonight. I'd be playing everybody, even though it's against that tough Philly defense. All right. So, what else do we got out there? Who's got some questions? I know I had some tough decisions, but I was able to throw in Christian Watson into my lineup. So that was exciting. Again, great matchup against the Giants. Now, do you guys have, how about some of the backup quarterbacks, right? Marcus Mariota playing right now. He was a decent start. We've got Jameis Winston, of course, getting the call for the Giants. Let's see. Hergott asks, Dak or Mahomes? Oh, man. This is a decision I've actually got in one of my leagues, and I'm playing Dak. So there you go. I have Dak, Herbert, and Mahomes on a team, and we're benching Mahomes. Yes. I don't know how it'll turn out, but that's a tough one. You've got or in my situation, I had like 3. So you currently have Mahomes in. I don't blame you. I mean, they're both so close, but Denver is a much better defense than the Raiders. So I'm looking at it from that perspective. I think that Dak should have a good game with Pickens and CeeDee and Ferguson, for that matter. So I think that they can jump out to a good lead in the first half by throwing, and then Javonte Williams take over in the second half. As for Mahomes, this is a tough matchup heading into Denver here. I mean, this could be a pretty low-scoring game. I don't know. I mean, the Chiefs' offense has been firing pretty well. But that said, I don't know, because I don't want to make it sound like I think Mahomes is not going to have a good game. All right. That's not what I think. You've got the best of both worlds here with Dak against the Raiders and then Mahomes on the other side. So I'm just playing the matchup, really. That's how I'm looking at it, Mike. You can't go wrong either way. I mean, both guys could score you over 25 today. That's kind of how I'm looking at it. I mean, I've got Dak in over Stafford in another league, if that says anything. So, yeah. But in the league that I own both of those, I am going Dak over Mahomes. How about some flex questions out there, huh? Really got some nail biters over the last couple weeks. I hit on a couple. Last week we had Travion Henderson or Tet McMillan. I went Travion at the last second. I initially said Tet, but then I looked at it a little closer and thought, well, Tet last week, if you remember, was banged up with a hamstring, and so I decided, hey, just play the healthy guy, and boom, Travion blows up. 2 touchdowns over 50 yards last week. Of course, he had the 3 touchdown night against the Jets on Thursday night. So that was awesome to see for all the Travion Henderson owners out there. I was excited for my Travion shares, but for everybody out there waiting for Mike Vrabel to finally let Travion take over the backfield. Now we know Stevenson is banged up, but yeah, I think even when Ramondre gets back healthy, that Henderson has done enough now to warrant being the top dog there in New England. 2 weeks ago, what was it? Alec Pierce. It was the call. I went Alec Pierce twice for a couple people. So once again, I try my best here. Alec Pierce isn't playing today though. So we're going with Christian Watson here as one of the guys I really like to start. Back to the backup quarterbacks. So yeah, you've got Winston, Joe Flacco, Mariota today. Who else? There's Davis Mills. Definitely leaning Winston in almost all. I would play Flacco over Winston. I'll say that. If it was Winston versus Mariota, probably go Winston. But it doesn't matter now because Mariota already started his game. Any other backups? Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett versus Jameis Winston. That would be a tough call right there. Yes, both of them with injuries to their wide receiver core. The Niners D is what Brissett's going up against versus the Packers D. I would probably lean Brissett ever so slightly. Yeah, if you have Brissett or Winston, I'd lean Brissett, but I couldn't blame you if you wanted to fire up Winston just for this one opportunity. Again, Jackson Dart just has a concussion injury. Now, they did, of course, get rid of Brian Dable this week, so this will be the first game with the interim coach. So who knows the remainder of the season? Do they want to rush Jackson Dart back, or are they just going to, I mean, I can't imagine that they just sit him for the rest of the season because of a concussion, right? That said, though, they're pretty much out of the playoff picture. They're 2-8, right? I mean, they could win out and still miss the playoffs. So playing Winston, I mean, I would want Dart to be completely healthy before I bring him back, for one. And I don't know, do they want to see what they got in Jameis Winston? I mean, Winston, you pretty much know what you've got with Jameis Winston. They can't trade Winston anymore. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what the Giants do the rest of the season with Jackson Dart. But in that, if I had to decide between Winston and Brissett, yeah, I'd slightly lean Brissett, but I wouldn't blame you for going Winston just to have the fun of Jameis Winston, right? I mean, I think that Arizona San Francisco game has a little higher probability of getting nuts, becoming a circus show, than the Packers Giants game does. I mean, you've got a struggling Packers offense with a good bounce back opportunity here, but they've struggled over the recent weeks. Meanwhile, with the Niners, like, you've got Brock Purdy coming back, Ricky Pearsall coming back. It looks like a good game environment for points to be scored in that one. So I'd want just about as many options as I could in that game, other than the Arizona running backs again. So yeah, that's the way I'm looking in that one there. Yeah, just trying to think if there's any other backup quarterbacks going. Yeah, no, I think I covered them all. So any other flex questions out there? Again, those are the ones that are most interesting and usually tantalizing for you guys out there, I know. We've got about 53 minutes till game time for the noon, 1 o'clock games. Let's see here. Just checking the recent updates. Hunter Renfrow is out. Calvin Ridley is healthy, so if you have to, go ahead and put Calvin Ridley in your lineup. Yeah, you can play Ridley, but again, this is against the Texans defense. Texans are awesome against the pass, tough against the run too. Like, this is going to be a struggle bus for Cam Ward today. I am avoiding all Titans at all costs. Texans, I'm just firing up. Nico Collins, you can play for sure. He's still going to get some targets in the first half as the Texans look to build the lead. But if they stretch it out to like a 20-3 ball game, then Nico probably won't get too many more looks. Hopefully Nico does get in the end zone, get you 5 for 75 and a touchdown before the Texans can just hand the ball off the rest of the game. Who knows, though? This is a divisional matchup. They could keep it close. I don't know. We'll see. I'm just not betting on the Titans keeping the game close. That's really what it comes down to. Even with Davis Mills at the helm, the Texans defense is just so strong. Ooh, we got a fumbled punt here. It looks like Miami jumped on it. A 13 all game here in Spain, 4 minutes to go. So we'll see here. Yeah, Dolphins fans in Spain getting wild. Tua coming out to deliver a victory here for the Dolphins faithful. Exciting stuff for sure. All right. Next up. Oh, got a question here. All right. Who else? Any flex questions? I'm happy to help. Any other, you can ask me any other things too. If you got a trade that you're debating on right now, that's fine as well. Most of the time we're talking dynasty, but today we are talking for dynasty or redraft, of course, because the lineup decisions are made in both formats. Be doing the Sunday recap tonight. That'll come after the second slate of games, so the 3/4 o'clock Eastern games. So around 6:30 or 7:30 Eastern, I'll try and hit those recaps up before the Sunday night game so you can catch all of the Lions-Eagles action. Check us out on our Discord, Dynasty Rewind's Patreon as well, but the Discord is the main site where the action gets on. Go to the Rewinders. We've got plenty of different forums in there, whether you're looking for start-sit decisions during the week, trade advice, trade. How you finished a trade? What do you think of it? Am I an idiot? Am I good? What? Dynasty strategy talk. We've got all of that going on in the Dynasty Rewind Discord. That's the Rewinders on Discord. Check that out. I'm going to wait here because I want to see if there's any more news here on any injuries. I don't want you guys to miss out on those. Looks like Mariota got banged up on that run down the sideline. Not sure if he's returning. Again, Calvin Ridley is in. Earlier on, I mentioned Brian Thomas Jr. out. Marvin Harrison out. Keon Coleman is out. Make sure you get Keon Coleman out of the lineup. Don't have him. He would have been a borderline flex play anyway, but that does pump up Khalil Shakir a hair. The other, trying to think who's going to start on the other side at wide receiver now for the Bills. Let's see. Is it the rookie? I'm trying to think of his name. I picked him up in one best ball league. I should know, right? Tyrell Shavers, that's who I'm thinking. Yeah. So Shavers probably won't start. It's Josh Palmer that gets the uptick. Yes. Josh Palmer should get an uptick. Gabe Davis is hanging out there. Mecole Hardman, Curtis Samuel. I mean, there's tons of weapons there, but it's not like I'm just firing up Josh Palmer all of a sudden because the Bills, well, everybody likes to eat there, and they like to call the game so that everybody gets to eat in Buffalo. But James Cook's the one that's eating all day long. Same with Josh Allen. He just likes to disperse it well. Yes, Dalton Kincaid, of course, out though. So Dawson Knox is who you'd want in at tight end if you have to, as a desperation tight end play. Yes. All right. Who else we got for tough calls? Happy Sunday, JRS. Yeah, there he is. He's back. You're welcome, JRS. Yes, that was, and we hope you had Hendo in the lineup on Thursday night again as well. Looks like he's going to hopefully crush the rest of the season for you and take you to a title. Yes. Happy to help though with the Hendo over Tet call last week. Yeah, I was thinking about it all game long. I'm like, oh man, I hope this one hits for him. Just like the Alec Pierce. I mean, Alec Pierce has almost become an every week start, except for, of course, today with Colts and the Saints on bye this week. So can't fire up Alec Pierce today, but that's okay. We'll get him in there next week. Sure did. Hurts to have Ted on the bench, but worth 30 points for sure. Yes, sometimes, I mean, you know, he has a hamstring issue. Trying to think, you know, you've got Calvin Ridley again, hamstring issue. Even if Ridley had a great matchup, I'm very leery of playing guys with those injuries because they could pop up at any point in the game. It could literally be the first snap of the game. It could be in the third quarter, but then they end up missing out. Why not play the guy that comes into the game healthy, and then you don't have that to worry about, right? I mean, it's football. Guys get hurt. You sign up for it when you start playing in Pee Wee football that you're going to get hurt at some point playing this sport. So guys getting hurt is like the worst excuse for losing in fantasy football. They're all going to get hurt at some point during the season. They won't necessarily miss a game, but if they're going into a game injured already, like that just doesn't seem like a great play for you. I don't know. It depends on the injury for sure, but yeah, one bad snap. That's all it takes with a hamstring for sure. Mike Evans has done it. His whole career dealt with a bad hamstring, and you know, half the time the way he catches the ball, I'm just worried he's getting a hamstring, and now he's dealing with it right now. Actually, not the hamstring, his collarbone. We'll see if Evans makes it back. It's probably 50-50 as to whether or not he actually gets back into the season. Fantasy wise, you're not gonna see him for any meaningful game. If he comes back, it'd be week 17 or 18, and I can't see you wanting to fire him up in your fantasy championship game. Likely the Bucs will keep him out till the playoffs, but that's good news for Tez Johnson. Now, again, this is a tough matchup against the Bills pass defense. So I'm not loving Tez Johnson this week, but he's not a terrible. You could do much worse than Tez this week. Dolphins are right down on the 1-inch line here. 3rd and goal as we hit the 2-minute warning in Spain. First game in Spain. Last week we had our first game in Berlin. Wonder where the NFL will take us next year. Fun times. A couple guys in one of my leagues are from Germany. They were able to go to the game last week. That was pretty cool to see their picture of them going to the game. They took a picture in the stadium and everything. A lot of excitement for those guys. Pretty happy for them. Kind of take it for granted here in the States that football is just readily available to go to the games every week. Think Cade Otton can demand targets like last year? Well, he has been. I mean, 9 for 82 last week. As long as Evans and Godwin are out, Baker loves him as his safety valve. So yeah, he hasn't gotten into the end zone yet, but the way he's playing, like he's actually a lot of the tight ends in the range. Put it this way, a lot of the tight ends in the range of Cade Otton, right? Your tight ends 10 through 20. You're just basically hoping that they get into the end zone, right? And Cade Otton, though, is exactly opposite. Like you can pencil him in for 5 for 50 pretty much today. I'll say that. So you get a nice actual floor from the tight end position rather than that just simple boom bust possibility. Like if you're throwing in Luke Musgrave, right? Musgrave, he's got to get a touchdown for you to actually get points. Otherwise, he's getting 2 for 17. Okay. Mason Taylor, kind of the same way every week. Is he going to get a touchdown? Right. But Cade Otton actually has been pretty consistent. And as long as Godwin is out, it seems to be Baker's go-to guy for the dump offs. And we'll see that the Bucs Bills game. I'm really interested for it with the possible weather issue. Sometimes I don't want to overplay the weather because sometimes we overdo it. And that's why, like I'm not here saying bench Igbokwe, okay, or completely bench Baker. What I am saying, though, is Baker has struggled over the last few weeks. And so if you have another option that could potentially be better, then maybe you'll play him. But otherwise, you're still playing Baker Mayfield, even in a rough weather environment. It's not like this is 0 degrees and it's a blizzard out there. Okay. They're still going to be able to pass the ball somewhat. Love it. Fannin or Otton this week. Whew. That's a close one because they're basically the same type of player. I would still start Fannin over Otton. I'll put it that way. Okay. I think Fannin would have a better opportunity to get into the end zone than Otton. So yeah, I'd still lean Fannin over Otton there, JRS. Yeah. Good question though. That's a tight one. Yeah. I don't want to get too high up on my guy, Cade Otton here. I don't want to overblow things. I'm still starting Dallas Goedert over Otton. Could go down the list. Let's see. We're obviously starting the top guys, Bowers and McBride, Kittle, Gadsden. Where does it start to cut off here? Goddard's just been hot this year, so you absolutely have to play him. I'm thinking where it becomes more in question is when you're talking like Colston Loveland or Cade Otton. Now, that's an interesting one because Loveland and Cole Kmet came back from his concussion pretty healthy, and actually they had like a 50-50 split last week in snaps. So I know Loveland had that awesome game against the Bengals, but with the snaps being pretty 50-50, I think I would lean Otton over Loveland, put it that way. Good game script there with the Bears and Vikings. So I could understand wanting to get some action in that one, but with the Bucs, you've got Otton. With the Bears, you've got Loveland and Kmet and Roma Dunze and DJ Moore and Luther Burden and Olamide Zaccheaus, right? So like Caleb Williams has all of these options. Baker has literally Igbokwe, Tez, and Otton, and that's about it, right? He likes his dump offs to Sterling Shepard as well, but yeah, it's much more limited in the Bucs receiving room versus what the Bears have going on. So there I would lean Otton. Let's see what else. What other tight ends? If we're talking tight ends here, the Rams are one of the most disgusting tight end rooms. They're like a 4-headed monster, even worse than Pittsburgh, and their 3-headed monster that they've got going on. And then Carolina too. Ugh, gross. Another 3-headed monster in Carolina. So yeah, Kyle Pitts versus Otton. That would be a good one. That'd be a tough call. I'd actually probably lean Otton just because Pitts hasn't blown up. He hasn't been terrible this year, okay, but it's still slightly lean Otton. Will any Lions tight ends be ingesting with? I would say Brock Wright is definitely Brock Wright's going to get the majority of the snaps. And I know Hergot shared a little bit earlier, and he can chime in if he wants here because he's a Lions fan. So I know he's hardcore there. But I would say Brock Wright, if you look, he's gotten plenty of snaps when Laporta has been banged up over the last 2 years. And yeah, he's actually a decent red zone target. So Brock Wright is your play here. I don't know who I'm exactly starting him over. I guess that depends on your roster, you know what I mean? But if you had Laporta and you just had Laporta, like this was a shallower team, you just had Laporta, like you could do worse than picking up Brock Wright and just plugging him in. I don't think Brock Wright's getting more than 5 targets. Okay. 5 would be his cap, I would say, but you know, you might get one red zone opportunity there out of Brock Wright, and that could pay off for you. I'm starting Otten over him, though. Yeah. Kate Otten show here we've got going on, right? How about Brock Purdy coming back? Everybody excited about their Niners getting Purdy back? I mean, Mac Jones was playing damn well, at least fantasy-wise for us. I think that Purdy has probably a better command of the offense as a whole. But yeah, I'm excited for Jennings and Pearsall back in, and then George Kittle, of course. Can't not be excited about George Kittle. And with Laporta going down, you know, that just ups the value of having a Bowers and McBride and Kittle, those top 3. And then I personally I throw Gadsden into that mix, right? And Tyler Warren as well. Tyler Warren's out this week with the bye, not injured. He's not playing because he's on bye. But those top 5 guys really get a bump now that Laporta is out, because now you've got just 5 top-end tight ends. Laporta is never one that I know he had that awesome rookie season, and then last year kind of fell down a little. I didn't really buy into him this year because I wasn't paying the price. JRS, you're excited for Purdy and Pearsall? Yeah, you got to be, and it's a great matchup here against Arizona. I know they're a divisional opponent, so they kind of know the Niners, but at the same time, like, the Niners have pretty much dominated the Cardinals over the recent years. Now with Brissett at the helm, could be a different story, but maybe not. I mean, the Seahawks definitely didn't have trouble with the Cardinals last week, and that there though, I mean, that game you had 2 fumble returns for touchdowns that really flips a game on its head. Like, those are the unpredictable things that can happen in games and just ruin your outlook on games. Nobody goes into a game and says, yeah, there's going to be 2 fumble returns for touchdowns here, and that means that Sam Darnold's only going to throw it 10 times, right? I can go into the Texans-Titans game and say, yeah, Davis Mills might not have to throw it a lot because, well, the Texans don't want him to have to throw it a lot. Like, if they could hand it off 95% of the time today, I'm sure they would. And that's why I like Woody Marks as a start up there with that first question we had of the day. But yeah, I hope Darnold gets to. I know Darnold will get to throw it a lot more today against the Rams defense. And yeah, I'm avoiding Charbs and Kenneth Walker if I can. Kenneth Walker's been so heartbreaking this year. Like, the dude, he's still got that burst. He looks good. He could look great next year somewhere else in a different uniform. But as for right now, you know, in Seattle, they just added Shaheed. I mean, this offense is firing on all cylinders. You can't tell the offensive coordinator that he's doing something wrong because your fantasy team doesn't like it, right? They don't care about our fantasy teams. But all we can do is use the information presented to us and make reactions based off of that. And so that's all we try to do here. Leave your comments down below after we finish up here. If you've got more start sit questions, I'll be happy to help you out and answer them right up until kickoff. So go ahead and drop those in. Again, I will be back tonight with the Week 11 Sunday night recap. I'm the Birdman, Chris Lemke. You can find me on X at clemke007_FF. And on the Rewind all week long, we will help you out in our Discord. Go ahead and join that Discord now. But for the rest of Sunday, please enjoy your Week 11 football action. See you later. And remember, never stop working.